Viewers, before we get started, drop your city and local time in the comments. Always fun to see where everyone's tuning in from. Now imagine a first-class lounge so perfectly staged it feels like someone bottled serenity and piped it through hidden vents-rich leather, soft Guatemalan mountain coffee, that faint ozone tang from the air purifiers, and music that's just barely there like it's afraid to intrude. In a corner sits Nathaniel Cross, tall, lean, mid-40s, beard dusted with silver, wearing a charcoal suit that doesn't shout its price tag, just nods quietly to it. He's buried in a dense financial report, wrist carrying a Patek Philippe that whispers old money instead of yelling flash sale. Across the room, Brenda Finch, mid-50s with hair lacquered into an aerodynamic helmet, clocks him. She's the lounge supervisor, and in her mind, part-time guardian of standards, which, in this moment, is code for you don't belong here. She approaches with that tight smile people wear when they're already sure they're right. Boarding pass scan? Green light. First class, seat 1A. Any reasonable person would move on. Brenda is not that person. She demands ID, studies it like she's sniffing out a counterfeit, then invents a secondary verification protocol that historians still argue whether she made it up on the spot or have been saving it for a special occasion requires yet another photo ID. Nathaniel plays along, calm as a glacier. Passports in his carry-on, already stowed. Brenda's predator smile widens. She thinks she's cornered him. And then, the casual knife twist. The Rolexes they sell on Canal Street don't count as valid ID. The insult lands like a cymbal crash in a library. Other passengers stop mid-sip. Nathaniel doesn't flinch, just lets that tectonic plate stillness settle over him. What Brenda doesn't know. 5 years ago, his firm sank nearly $1 billion into saving this airline, buying 49% of it. And now, a hostile takeover's in play, and his quiet trip to London is to decide the airline's fate. He offers her one last chance to walk it back. She refuses. He reaches for his briefcase, not a wallet. Not a credit card, slides out a document that will, within hours, put him in the chairman's seat. By the time the premium services manager wanders over, ready to back her up, they're both looking at legal proof that the man they tried to eject will soon own them and the very building they're standing in. Gregory Shaw, the premium services manager with the kind of weak chin that seems bred for nodding along in meetings, starts in with corporate platitudes about policy and guest comfort. Nathaniel just taps the document on the table, one page, cream-colored bond, letterhead from one of New York's top corporate law firms, and hands it straight to Gregory. The man reads the first lines with a smirk, but by the third paragraph, beads of sweat are mapping rivers down his temples. It spells out an emergency board meeting in London, less than a day away, where Crosswind Equity will finalize its purchase to push their ownership to 51% and install Nathaniel Cross as chairman. Brenda, sensing the sudden chill, asks what it says. Nathaniel delivers the words with surgical precision. It says the policy you're trying to enforce doesn't apply to me because I will own this airline. The air in the lounge congeals. Gregory tries to stammer out damage control. Brenda just stands there, the gatekeeper suddenly staring up at the gate. Nathaniel, calm as a man ordering tea, calls the CEO on his personal phone. He recounts every slight, every lie, every invented rule, down to the jab about his watch. Minutes later, corporate security arrives, not the mall cop variety, but the bespoke suit kind who deal in espionage and hijackings. Arthur Vance, VP of Global Security, strides in like he's walking onto a chessboard he's already won. He ignores Nathaniel's antagonists, apologizes directly to him, then turns on Gregory and Brenda with the kind of frost that makes people forget how to breathe. Termination for cause right there on the spot. No suspension, no pending review. Even Brenda's 27 years of service and pension gets swallowed by a clause she probably never bothered to read. They hand over their badges like artifacts from a dead culture. Gregory pleads about his mortgage. Brenda whispers about her years of loyalty. Nathaniel glances up from his tablet, reminding them, with a voice so even it cuts deeper than shouting, that personal consequences flow from professional choices. They're escorted out past the same passengers who just watched them posture, now filming the slow-motion collapse for posterity. While Nathaniel boards his original flight, Ignoring the offer of the corporate jet, the CEO spends the night in a legal panic. Historians still argue whether Robert Maxwell lost more sleep over the takeover itself or the fact that his own staff handed Nathaniel the moral sledgehammer to smash the boardroom doors wide open. By 3 a.m. Chicago time, the meeting begins. The video plays Brenda's smirk, Gregory's smugness, Nathaniel's reveal, and when it ends, the board stares into a silence heavy enough to dent the table. The vote is swift. Reject the hostile bid, accept the CEO's resignation, and let Nathaniel Cross run the show. Nathaniel's first move as chairman isn't vengeance seats a scalpel to the company's disease culture. He promotes Sarah Jennings, the sharp COO, to interim CEO and orders a full audit of every HR complaint, every discrimination case, every incident swept under the rug for the past 5 years. The mission is clear. Find every Brenda Finch and Gregory Shaw, remove them, and replace them with people who actually believe in the airline's promise. The purge isn't based on gossip. It's built on cold, unarguable data patterns of bias, customer service scores, ignored grievances. Out go the petty tyrants, in come the overlooked talents. One of those talents? Alicia Roberts, a young admin Brenda, once tried to sink over a parking spot. Under new leadership, Alicia's poise and sharp thinking earn her the role of director of the newly formed Office of Employee Advocacy, reporting directly to the CEO. Historians still argue whether that promotion was pure merit or also a small, elegant slice of poetic justice. Nathaniel rolls out intensive training, not the yawn-inducing PowerPoints, but real-world workshops in empathy, de-escalation, and unconscious bias. Executive bonuses now hinge on employee satisfaction and service scores. The Polaris Lounge at JFK gets a complete redesign, more open, more welcoming, a visible blend of backgrounds among staff, all united under the Ethereum Promise Charter. He writes himself, "Dignity is not a premium service. It is the standard." The airline's reputation flips faster than a day trader's mood. Passenger numbers climb, top industry talent lines up to work there, and the hostile takeover attempt fades into a dusty footnote. Months later, Nathaniel's in seat 1A again, flying to Chicago. The lead flight attendant greets him warmly. Her trainee whispers, "Is that really him?" The answer, "That's the man who reminded us what this job is really about. It's not serving drinks. It's serving people." Nathaniel smiles to himself, watching the runway slide past, engines roaring. He hadn't aimed to be an airline mogul, let alone a corporate reformer, but Brenda Finch's arrogance had forced his hand. She insulted a man she thought was beneath her and, in doing so, handed him the perfect platform to redefine the culture she'd abused. Now he's not just an owner. He's the benchmark. The hum of the engines becomes a kind of lullaby as the plane lifts into the sky. The work ahead is massive, but this was a damn good start. And so the sharp edges of the story soften, the clash of egos and the snap of corporate justice fading into the steady rhythm of an aircraft climbing toward clear air. The noise of confrontation is gone now, replaced by the quiet, deliberate work of building something better, policies rewritten, people retrained, dignity woven into every interaction like an unseen but unbreakable thread. Faces change, attitudes shift, and the memory of that day in the lounge becomes less about humiliation and more about the moment a company remembered its soul. Nathaniel doesn't dwell on Brenda's fall or Gregory's exit. Their names will fade, their roles already filled by people who see service as something noble. He focuses instead on the future flights, the passengers who will never know they've been part of a silent revolution, the crews who will never have to unlearn bad habits taught by small-minded supervisors. Out the window, the clouds open into an endless pale horizon, light pouring over the curve of the earth. It's the same sky for everyone, in first class or coach, in the lounge, or at the gate. And in that sameness lies the point. Respect isn't a luxury, it's a constant like gravity. The engine's hum steadies, the seatbelt light clicks off, and the story drifts into that rare quiet where nothing more needs to be said, only carried forward in action.